great next to ribs or burgers. It's something that can be made with virtually no cooking at all. But before I get to that, I want to show you how to make homemade refrigerator pickles. And you know, when you think pickles, you're usually thinking about cucumbers, but you can pickle almost anything. I'm growing tomatoes, and they're just starting to get ripe, and I have a lot of green tomatoes, so I decided to pickle some green tomatoes. And if you have some tomatoes that don't ripen for you, or if they fall off the bush before they're ripe, they're a really great thing to pickle. You can pickle turnips, string beans, green tomatoes, cucumbers, cauliflower, asparagus, scallions, almost any vegetable that'll hold up. You can pickle it. Just got to figure out where everything is in this place. So I want to get some water going. This is going to be funny to see if I can figure out how to light this thing. Actually, does anybody know how to light this thing? Oh, thanks. I'm going to let you handle the explosives. This is my first time in Rochester. What a beautiful city. And a terrific stadium. And how's your team doing this year? Let's talk about something else. Oh, this one's, I only need one. So this one's going. Okay. So why on earth would you make your own pickles? Well, they're better. Like most things that you make yourself. And, you know, I'm sure that Rochester is experiencing the same kind of exciting growth in homemade cooking that we're seeing all over the country. There's a company that started in Brooklyn called McClure's Pickles, and they're really good. They make a pickle that's kind of spicy. It's a big jar of pickles, but it's $12 for a jar of pickles, and that's a lot. This is a way to make pickles at home for pennies. And if you got a garden going, you know, you got more food than you know what to do with. You can pickle zucchini instead of leaving it on your neighbor's porch at midnight. One other approach. I need one more empty jar. And I love to do this because I like my pickles pretty spicy. And the ones that in the store just don't come that way. So all you gotta do is bring some water to a boil and take 10 whole cloves of garlic and throw them into the water and let them simmer for about 5 minutes. It's a step that you don't want to skip because if you skip it, they'll turn blue when you put the vinegar in, and it's harmless but ugly. Tom Colicchio from Top Chef told me once that there's no such thing as any blue food. There's no blue food. Blueberries are not blue, they're purple. If anybody can think of any blue food, help me out, and maybe we can prove Tom wrong, but I think he's right. If it's blue, I guess evolution is telling us don't eat it. So we want to, if you simmer the garlic for 5 minutes, that the sulfur cooks out and everything's cool. Now, pickles are made with pickling spices. Here we have a little bit of coriander seed. Put that right in the bottom of the jar. And by the way, if anyone has questions or something you just have to get off your chest, you want to talk, let's not talk politics, there's enough of that going on. Let's go straight to religion. I like to keep these informal, so if anybody has questions. And you know what did I just do? Coriander seed, a little celery seed, a little mustard seed, divided into the jars. A little bit of, actually, you know what? I'd rather have these whole, but I don't know if I'm going to figure out how to open this thing. Do you know how to do this? No, but I want the whole ones. Here, are you a culinary professional? Okay, thank you very much. You are, really? No? But you play one on TV? I guess I kind of do. You know, with the book, well, I guess I have to grind it. Okay, thank you. No, I know how to do that. I just want to. Yeah. When you make pickles, you want to put in whole seeds and whole spices and whole peppercorns because otherwise it makes your brine look cloudy, and you might get ground pepper stuck to your pickles, and it's not ideal. But no one will die. so not a big deal. So we've got about 4 cups of water warming up on our stove here, and then to that, we're gonna add 2 cups of white vinegar. And you don't need fancy vinegar for this, just ordinary. That's a lot of flies, man, wow, stop it. What's that? Yeah, you're right, that's not a good idea. There are a lot of people right in front of me. Good Lord, that's crazy. All right, so this cookbook has recipes that are simple, and it has recipes that do take a little bit of time. And I guess I wanted to do 2 things with this cookbook. One was to encourage people to think about cooking as something that's fun. You know, it's not fun on Tuesday nights when the kids are at soccer practice and someone's at violin lessons and blah, 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 and you just have to feed the troops. But on Sunday, maybe, when you got a little bit of time, you roasted turkey, then on Monday you have quesadillas, and on Tuesday you make soup. I was just trying, when my friends and I want to have a day to kill, we crank up the stereo, we open a bottle of wine, and we get together and cook. And it's something that I think the previous generation sort of lost. And they were excited about microwaves and packets and cans and things that are fast and easy, and I know sometimes we need that. But I wanted to write a cookbook that celebrates how much fun it is to cook, especially with kids and with friends. And you know, Food Network has tons of kids watching, completely safe, completely G-rated, and not only that, but we're sneaking knowledge into their little heads and inspiring them to eat something besides chicken nuggets. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So to make our pickles, we got the brine simmering over here. As I said, you can make a pickle out of almost anything. And they make great gifts, these jars of pickles. I don't know what it is, but when you put vegetables in jars and then you pour liquid over them, they look great. I don't know why. And you really want to stuff these jars full. Sometimes these bigger pieces are made more difficult. Maybe I'll come smaller. And I think this was my fault. We accidentally got the jalapeno chilies chopped. Chop. You really want to, I would rather put them in chunks. I actually like to eat the pickled jalapenos. I'm going to cut these guys up. So as we go, anybody got anything on their mind? Questions? Comments? Yes. Oh, how are my honeybees doing? Thank you. We have 3 beehives. I live in Brooklyn in a brownstone, and we have 3 beehives on the roof. And the neighbors love it. They think it's cool. No one's been stung yet. All right. None of my neighbors are lawyers, I hope. Honeybees are really interesting. It's actually not that hard to keep bees. We have already, it's been a really good spring for honeybees because we had a nice, long, fairly cool, not overly rainy spring. So the flowers really stayed on the trees and on the plants a long time, and they had lots to eat. So we've already harvested about 50 pounds of honey, and we'll get way more than that. We'll get north of 100 pounds per hive by the time we're done. I mean, we harvest our honey by the gallons, you know. Now I just have to figure out what to do with it all. The question, are we selling it at the green market? I think this year we may have enough to do that. But it may be given to friends. It's a really good gift. And you know, speaking of honeybees, they don't bite. The honeybees aren't really that interested in. Oh look, I left out the dill. That's important. So, in addition to coriander seed, mustard seed, celery seed, peppercorns, and now we're going to have our garlic go in here. We also, of course, have to put in dill. They're not pickles without dill. That's the most flies I've ever seen in my life. You guys have a lot of flies in Rochester? They're hungry? What's the deal with every time you cut a tomato or a pineapple in your kitchen and there are no insects before that, the fruit flies come out of nowhere. I don't know what it is. So you divide your garlic pieces among your jars. Bring your water back up. Now, I went and turned it off, didn't I? Hal, can you come turn this on for me again? I turned it off. I'm used to cooking indoors. I did make it to Life Scout, but I did not Eagle, so
Sorry.
Oh, now I broke that one? It's okay? They're coming out of my check? Alrighty. Boy, I was worried about today this morning, and now look. Not a cloud in the sky. Good stuff. Okay, so 4 cups of water, let's see, 16 ounces, which is a pint, which is 2 cups, right? Do you have any science majors? Yeah, didn't it? Well, you know, that's okay. Yeah, it'll be all right. We'll just do a demonstration. Pretend this is aggressively sizzling.
Yes.
Oh, good sound effects. No less. Cool. So when you're making pickles, you're building a brine, which of course is salty water. And I worked on this recipe a long time to get this exactly where I wanted it. So basically, 2 cups of white vinegar, 4 cups of water, 6 teaspoons of salt. And in this nice warm water, the salt will dissolve fairly soon. I'm going to give that a minute to do so, and I'm going to move on to my next thing. What was that, 5?
Yeah.
You guys are really helpful. I'm trying to think if there's other TV stuff I ought to be telling you. July 22nd, Grill Masters. We go back into the studio for Chopped shortly after Thanksgiving. I think we're making more of this show than Food Network has ever made, which is really fun. It's really fun. All right. Was that a question? Wait, I see a guy holding a mitt. Think fast. He's not even looking at me.
Can you upload these?
Okay. All right, so basically that's all there is to it. You're dissolving salt in a vinegar and water solution. Almost any vegetable you want can go in here. And when that's red, okay. You want to be sure to use a funnel. You also want to pack your jars a little more tightly than this. I can just jam it in there so that they'll be full enough. And you just pour the hot brine over the vegetables. It'll cook them just a little bit. And these must be kept in the refrigerator. That's why they're called refrigerator pickles. I'm not doing canning. I didn't want to learn how to do canning. I didn't want to mess with all of that stuff. And I'm not doing this because I have 700 pounds of cucumbers that have to go someplace. I'm doing it because I want great pickles. And these are great pickles. A day later, these are delicious. A week later, they're even better. But you gotta keep them in the fridge. You can add sugar if you want. I don't, but you can. And it's an extremely versatile thing, a very forgiving thing. You can put anything you want to in here. You can use tarragon, you can use rosemary, you can use onions. I mean, it's a really fun thing to experiment with if you like pickles, and a lot of people really like pickles. How long will they last in the fridge? Easily a couple of months. I mean, they're in an acidic vinegar solution, which is a preservative. Salt is a preservative, and keeping them cold is a preservative, but you have to keep them in the fridge. They're not canned, they're not pressurized, so that's important. You don't want to kill your friends.